it's happening. After 2 decades of discussions and proposals, Israel has announced it will work with Egypt and the Palestinian Authority to develop a marine gas field off of the coast of the Gaza Strip. Now, this is a major deal that is set to develop the Palestinian economy and hopefully maintain stability in the region by allowing the Palestinians to export gas. Now, EGAS, which is a gas company that is owned by the Egyptian government, is expected to develop the field about 30 kilometers from Gaza's shore, which is estimated to contain more than 1 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. And joining us now with all the details to explain really what this means for the future of the Palestinian economy is our economic correspondent, Ariel Margalith. Okay, so Ariel, we know that Israel, Egypt, and of course the Palestinian Authority really revived these talks on developing these gas fields after Russia invaded Ukraine over the course of the last year. Obviously, Europeans have been looking for alternative gas sources to Russian energy. But tell us why this deal is ultimately happening right now. What was really the trigger here? Wow, that's a very good question. The details of this agreement haven't been revealed, but we do know that had it been to the will of the Egyptians and the Palestinians, of course, this would have gone ahead way sooner. We're talking about 20 years that have passed since Gaza Marine was discovered around 20 miles from the coast of Gaza. It contains around 1 trillion cubic feet of gas, natural gas, a bit smaller than the natural gas reserves that were discovered north of there that are controlled by Israel, right, all the way from Caesarea to the border with Lebanon. Why now? 2 parameters that I can think of. One is the agreement with Lebanon last year under the Bennett-Lapid government. There was a maritime border agreement that was signed that allowed Israel to further develop some of the gas resources that it had found on the border. Similarly for Lebanon, and I think that was an instigator for these negotiations to go ahead. And as you mentioned, of course, the dire need across Europe for an alternative to Russian gas. How much is this project going to ultimately cost, and when can we expect gas production to actually begin? 2 very good questions. There's what we say before, and these companies what they say before, and then what actually happens after, especially here in the Middle East. So things take a bit longer and usually cost more. Look at the light rail here in Tel Aviv, for example. So the parties are talking about a project that is estimated at around $1.4 billion US, and production of gas as soon as next year. Now, what's important to remember is that this natural gas, the amount of natural gas that is there is far greater than what the Palestinian Authority needs. There are around 5 million people altogether living in the West Bank and in Gaza. So there will be reserves, there will be extras that the Palestinian Authority would be able to export to Europe. And of course, we know the Egyptians and the Israelis are already doing that from the Eastern Mediterranean. 2 points that I want to emphasize. One is Hamas was not part of the negotiations. At least officially, it was not part of the negotiations. Hamas, that controls Gaza, considered to be by Israel, the United States, and others a terror organization. However, we probably should expect that they are some sort of party to this agreement. Otherwise, they wouldn't have allowed the progression of this agreement. Which of course, that brings me to the next question, which is just, what this ultimately means for the Palestinian economy. Who's going to ultimately be reaping the benefits here? What happens to the Gazans if Hamas is not involved? Are they going to get any of the financial benefits of this deal? Yeah, so probably yes. Hamas, I don't think Hamas would have adhered to any sort of agreement if they were not a party to this agreement, or if they had not received some sort of assurances with regards to supplies and also to benefits that they will enjoy from this deal. However, of course, these are not disclosed. The other thing that we need to bear in mind is the reputation of the Palestinian Authority. Yes, there is going to be an income from gas that, first of all, will sustain the population, which is in dire need of betterment of the economic situation, both in Gaza, mostly in Gaza, but also in the West Bank. But we also have to remember that the Palestinian Authority is known to be very corrupt, and there are a lot of question marks with regards to how this money is going to be managed, where it is going to end up, and how much the Palestinian people will actually benefit. Hopefully, the fact that there is an Egyptian party to this agreement, the consortium of, as you mentioned, Egyptian investors backed by the Egyptian government, is hopefully good news for the Palestinians.
So, quick answer here because we're running low on time, but what about the potential security risks? Obviously, a lot of people are wondering how Israel's going to mitigate any issues here.
I personally don't think there are any security risks that Israel should be worried about, not more so than in any other day. If anything, the betterment of the lives of Palestinians in the Gaza Strip and also in the West Bank hopefully will will result in a decrease in terrorism.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the Hamas will have more to lose if there are rockets by Israel launched into Gaza, if there are attacks, etc. And hence, they might not want to open war. Generally, when people are doing well economically, they're more peaceful.
Right. Well, I mean, obviously, this is definitely a big step forward. Let's hope that it is going to promote the regional stability that we're hearing these leaders
Palestinians have
tout.
been waiting for 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Arafat at the time called it a gift from God when he visited the Gaza Marine.